Good evening. Thank you for joining us at the parent webinar tonight. We are thrilled to have you. And we know that we are certainly in some challenging times. You probably have a lot of questions for us, and we have put together a great panel of experts tonight who can help to answer questions for you. And we're very, very excited to be talking with you this evening. My name is Kristen Hatfield. I'm Director of Admissions at the University of St. Thomas. And as I mentioned, we've got lots of experts from around the university with us tonight. And we are going to dive right in and let them introduce themselves as well. So I will start. Father Blake, would you like to kick us off, please?
Thank you, Christina. I'm Father Lawrence Blake, University Chaplain here at the University of St. Thomas and Director of Campus Ministry. As a Catholic institution, we desire to strengthen the faith of all of our students, regardless of their faith background. And so our office works very diligently and partners with other offices on the campus to do that. I'm very happy to be here tonight.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeff Holstein. I'm Assistant Director in Campus Life. I oversee clubs and organizations and leadership development, but our office also oversees large campus programming. Our STAR board, our St. Thomas Activities and Recreation Board, oversees wide campus programming. We also oversee the undergraduate student government, and then some also annual events that happen on our campus as well.
Good evening. My name is Linda Bachman. I serve as Dean of Students at St. Thomas, and in the Dean of Students office, we serve multiple functions, but two of the most important ones are that we help students who are needing to navigate any challenges they might be facing at the university, help them through transitions, and we also work to establish an educational environment that is welcoming and safe for all of our students.
Hi folks, my name is Josh Hangemule. I'm Assistant Dean of Students. One of my roles keeping me most busy right now is coordinating our orientation programs for our incoming students. We're excited to welcome you to St. Thomas. I also work closely with our students who live off campus, as well as our military affiliated students.
Hello, my name is Susan Anderson. My title at St. Thomas is the Director of Academic Support and Compliance, and that means I have supervisory responsibilities in academic counseling and disability resources. So that means my team is working a lot with Josh to welcome the incoming class and help them get registered for fall classes. And then we are also working very closely with students who qualify for accommodations inside and outside of the classroom.
Hi, this is Madonna McDermott, and I'm the Executive Director for the Center for Wellbeing. The center is an integrated healthcare facility that includes our medical clinic, our counseling services, and our health promotion and violence prevention areas. So we're really excited to see you here in the fall soon.
Hello, good evening everyone. Aaron Mackey, Associate Dean of Students and Director for Residence Life. So I have the pleasure of working with the Residence Life team who would work with your student if they are planning to live and learn on campus with us in any of our residence halls.
And my name is Kyla. I'm going to be a senior this year at St. Thomas. I'm studying communication and journalism, and I'm on the pre-law track here at St. Thomas, and I'm from Prior Lake, Minnesota.
Thank you all. As I told you, it's a great panel tonight. I'm going to do a couple of housekeeping items, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself because we're going to wait for some questions to come in. You might have to ask for questions before you get any. So let me tell you how that works here. First of all, I want to let you know that you are, as a participant, all muted. So you don't have to worry about whispering to your family or worried that we might pick up on anything you're saying. You're totally safe. We also can't see you, so don't worry about that from your end. On the bottom of your screen, if you haven't done a lot of Zooms, there is a section that's called Q&A, and that is where we'd like you to please type your questions for the panelists this evening, and we will be reading them off, and they will get projected when we start to answer your questions. So you won't be able to see other people's questions in the Q&A until we start answering them live. And we do also have a few people, other staff members behind the scenes who you're not seeing tonight, who may be answering questions as they're coming in to make sure that we get to all of your questions this evening. We want to make sure none of you leave with anything that's unanswered. That said, though, so please take your time right now to ask some questions. As Director of Admissions, let me tell you a little bit about my role. I think it's fairly obvious. I work with the admissions team, and you have all been working with an admissions counselor during your process as you applied to St. Thomas and been admitted. And we then, of course, this summer work with the team of people that you see on the screen to help get you acclimated and adjusted to St. Thomas. And so we have, in the admissions office, loved working with you, loved getting to know you. And I know most of you are still in the stage where you're trying to figure out if St. Thomas is the right choice for you. And so we're really hoping this evening to be able to tie up any loose ends with questions that you have as you're making that final decision. So we definitely are available for any questions this evening and any questions that you have along the way as well. So with that, let's dive in and start answering some questions. I think one of the things that's certainly on people's mind, we're going to start with you, Linda, is plans for the fall. And especially as we live in a world where we're trying to navigate what might be different than what people might have traditionally expected. So simply put, what are the university's plans for the fall?
You bet. We are excited to be working towards a fall semester where we will welcome students in person on campus to the greatest extent that we can, while still adhering to all the protocols we need to adhere to, set forth by the Center for Disease Control, MDH, the Minnesota Department of Health. We are closely aligning our work as we prepare for the fall to make sure that we are in accordance with what we need to be to ensure that we're mitigating risk. As we all enter a fall season where we know COVID-19 will be a reality in our lives, but we are putting a lot of practices in place in the classroom and out of the classroom. Some examples for you, I would say, as you're thinking about what fall might look like academically, likely classes will have a component where they're meeting in person, but in a situation where we're able to accommodate social distancing. So half of a class might be together one day, and the next day, that half of the class might be doing remote learning while the other half is in person. So that's what I mean by this blend of an in-person component with our fall classes. And we're putting protocols in place, again, for social distancing in our dining halls, in our residence halls. So we anticipate fall. It will look different. It will look different than any other fall, and that will be true on every campus across the United States. But I have to say, we're really excited to make a great environment for our students this fall semester. There's a team, I'll just let you know, there's a team of staff and faculty and administrators from across the university who've been meeting for several months now to really carefully and thoughtfully plan what fall semester will look like.
Terrific, thanks. While you were talking, there was a specific question that came in about online classes for international students, if they might be able to take all of their classes online. And I know that's been talked about. I'm not sure if your committee has done that. Are you feeling comfortable to answer that one, Linda?
I feel comfortable saying that I think there is a lot of work happening that might enable a student to be able to do that. So some of that might depend on the major that the student is in. I want to say that, so I don't want to give a blanket across the board. But I would say that there's a good chance that could happen for a student, and they should call their email International Student Services, who will also connect with academic counseling, and we can get some more specific answers for that student.
Wonderful, thank you. Madonna, could you tell us a little bit more about the Center for Wellbeing? People love to hear what that is all about.
Sure, I'd love to. We're really, really excited about the Center for Wellbeing. It's a rather new endeavor. Not too many college campuses across the country have done this, is where we've integrated most of the health components into one facility and integrated how we work together. As you know, you can't just cut off your head and say that mental health doesn't impact your physical health, and physical health not impacting your mental health. So we work closely with one another to address all areas of health and health promotion. What do you need to do as a student to stay healthy, to stay safe on campus? All of those aspects impact one's health and well-being. So if you would come to the center, you'll see a brand new remodeled building that's beautiful on this, in between the North and South campus. In that center then is a whole host of types of providers, from physicians, psychiatrists, physical therapists, nurse practitioners. We also have case manager, behavioral health therapist, one of the members from campus ministry also will see students there. And then we also have 8 full-time counselors, mental health counselors, as well as doctoral interns and practicum students. We have health promotion, violence prevention, and sexual assault awareness that does a lot of outreach education. So it's really a very comprehensive center and professionals that work well together to provide the best care and preventative care for your student or you as a student.
All right, thank you very much. Kyla, we have a question for you about working on campus. Can students get work-study jobs? And how do you navigate that, I think, would be what they're interested in knowing.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely possible to have a job on campus even as soon as your freshman year if you really want to. I know working on campus was something that I was really looking forward to, and I needed to help support myself. So I got a job on campus right away. There is a website on St. Thomas's website where they post all job listings throughout the university. And it really consists of a wide variety of jobs. You could work at the library or at the athletic center, but there's also internship opportunities even on campus, which is something I didn't know about at first when I came to college. And so there is a really great opportunity to get on campus internships and get paid for doing that work. So it's definitely possible, and the website at St. Thomas is always updated and active, so it's really easy to just look online and see what new opportunities are out there.
Well, and I know I enjoy working with you, Kyla. Kyla's in the office some days, and that is very fun for everybody involved. So we're going to dive into Susan. We have a question about working with students to get registered. And so if you could talk a little bit about how that's going to work this summer, that would be wonderful.
Sure. So we're excited to assist our incoming class with fall registration. And it will be a little different this year than if we were able to hold in-person orientation program that we have done for many years. But we're working hard to make a really special and very personal experience remotely for this incoming class. When students confirm that they are going to attend St. Thomas, you get access to a course on our online learning platform called Canvas, and we have developed an online course called Registration Readiness, which will lead students step by step through everything they need to do. Some students will need to take placement exams in certain subjects. Not everybody needs to do that, but if that's important for you, we'll guide you to those instructions. We have you complete an online questionnaire that we call the online course preference form. And that's an opportunity for every single student to tell us lots of details about you. What majors you might be interested in. If you've previously earned credits that will apply to your St. Thomas degree. We need to know lots of details about that so your fall schedule can complement the things you've already done. If you're interested in activities, we want to know about that so your schedule can complement that as well. So all those things are really important part of launching your academic life at St. Thomas. And then if we were holding an on-campus program, we would meet with you and you would register yourself in our system so you could learn how to do that. Well, we're not able to give you that guidance in person this year, but we want you to test out the system a bit. So we have you create some sample plans so you get some practice. And so you can tell us in that way the kinds of schedules. We'll give you lots of samples and other things. Then, once that's all done, our academic counseling staff will take that information from you and will give you a preliminary fall schedule that will be available for you to review in mid-July. And you'll have instructors in this course, and we will tell you and give you a link to register for a individual consultation after that schedule, after you've been able to look at it. And then you can talk through the details, and if there are changes and tweaks that need to be made, we'll be ready to assist you with that. So that's how we're planning to roll that out this summer. I'm looking forward to meeting with all of our new students in that way.
And we're going to segue over. I bet you Josh sees this coming, but can you tell us a little bit about how we're going to navigate the orientation process this summer, Josh?
I sure can. But first, I want to say I think Susan's underselling her team. Sometimes people hear that pitch and think, oh, I click submit on this course preference form and a computer spits out a schedule for me. And I just need to make sure students and parents understand it is a human being lovingly taking all of that information and handcrafting a schedule for every single incoming student for their fall semester. It is a lot of time and is a lot of energy, and it's a lot of that personal attention and care that I know we really pride ourselves on at St. Thomas. And so I just want to make sure Susan and her team get credit for the effort they're going to be putting in with these incoming students here too.
Thank you, Josh. And can I just echo, they're an amazing team, and they love working with incoming students. And we just had a staff meeting yesterday, and they're disappointed that they can't meet with the incoming students in person. They're like, this is great, we'll do it this way, but boy, we wish we could work with the incoming students because it's our favorite time of year. So echoing the love and care that they have for the incoming class. Thanks, Josh.
And then the incoming class this year, instead of just having a day of orientation in the middle of July, they get months of orientation. We really are starting orientation on June 1st, on that confirmed deadline. Everyone who's confirmed at that point in time and beyond, right, we'll get them started and walk through this entire summer with a lot of great content. We thought about how we would do it. We thought about, do we try to recreate the in-person experience and have a specific day that we ask students to sit at a computer for a couple hours and walk through an orientation content? And y'all just finished high school doing that. It's beautiful in the summer. I don't want to take 5 hours of your day, a couple of days over the summer. And so what we've done is we've built a lot of content and are continuing to build content that'll be spread throughout the summer. Right away, we want students to focus on that registration process. So the process Susan talked about is going to be the lead, but I've got a team of 9 upper class student orientation leaders who are working with us this summer. And starting next week, they're going to start inviting incoming students to connect with them and connect with one another in groups of no more than 30. Those will start to go out to confirmed students soon. And yes, it'll be a Zoom, it'll be a video conference, but we're trying to find a lot of ways to keep it engaging. What we're hearing from the students, what we know from students, is the 2 things they want most out of orientation is to get their class schedule and to meet other students. And so we're really trying to prioritize those things right out of the gate. That's just the first time we're going to bring students together. Between now and when the class schedules are set, we'll bring them together a couple more times. We'll do a couple of live webinars and a couple of other things that deliver content. And then there's a lot of content on our website, our new students website, that walks through all the different things we need in students to complete before they're coming to us. Then after class schedules are set, we're going to dive in and do a lot of small group work. We started a first year experience course this year at St. Thomas. And so after your class schedule is set, every incoming first year student will be in a class of around 20 of just first years that you'll meet with throughout the entire fall semester. And those folks will be people you get to know very closely. And so we'll have your orientation leader get that group together, continue to connect, answer questions, build conversations, and connect with other students who you'll be in the classroom with right away in the fall. When we can bring you back to campus in the fall, we'll find ways to continue to get those groups together in person. We're really looking forward to that. I was talking with some of the student leaders today, and they can't wait to meet you, whether it be next week on a Zoom or in person later. It's the students who are really excited to get you connected and engaged and supported in that transition. So a lot of it'll be over the web. We'll send regular emails to keep people on task and updated, but we're just really looking forward to a full summer of engagement with these incoming students.
All right, thanks, Josh. And I think that's a really good reminder to be checking your email and your mailbox and watching for all sorts of different mailings that are coming from the university as we keep you all informed. And I'm going to segue, it feels appropriate to talk about what a lot of people have on their mind as school gets started, especially if they're choosing to live on campus. So I'm going to turn to Erin. Erin, we always have people asking if the new residence halls are going to be available and if things are on track for that. And so I'm going to throw that one your way right away. And then also, if you could just talk a little bit about plans for the fall and how the process will work in terms of getting students settled into residence halls, that would be great too.
Sure. Well, I hope they're ready, Kristen. I was just in them the other day, and they're coming along nicely. We are fortunate that one of the industries that is been allowed to continue through all of this is the construction industry. So the project has continued on, and so we have Tommy East and Tommy North, and within Tommy North, we have what we call the North Sider, which is one of our dining halls. And those are all moving along really nicely here for the fall and to greet our residents. So for our students that are confirmed and are looking to live on campus, they're currently actively filling out what we call the housing preference form. So similar to the course preference form, it's an online process where you share with us the things that you are interested in, that you prefer, and that you want out of a living learning experience, from living learning communities to a particular hall to maybe a roommate. And so you're giving us your preferences, and then we will sit down just like Susan's team does, and we craft assignments based on all the different preferences that we have. And by the end of July, you'll know what classes you're in, and you'll know what hall you're living in and who you're living with, and have contact information. And then we encourage our students to take the month of August to really connect with their roommates and try and figure out, what you want that experience to be in terms of what to bring to campus and everything else. We start moving our students in right at the end of August there, so before Labor Day. And this year we're going to have it be a little longer of a process than it normally would, because we're going to try and have fewer people on campus than in a normal year, staggering roommates when they're moving in and how many are on a floor, and asking people to practice social distancing and wear masks and all the things that you'll be doing when you're on campus. We're going to start modeling that right away as you're moving in. And so we'll do that at the end of August. And then we've been actively cleaning and disinfecting our halls here as students left this spring. And we are preparing the halls in terms of space according to the guidelines that MDH and CDC are laying out, as Linda mentioned earlier. And we're preparing our staff and our student leaders to be good role models, and it will be a lot of education. It'll be a lot of education for our residents about how to practice good mental health and physical health and social health, and how to work for the common good and to take care of each other and take care of yourself. And we all make it through this by being real conscious of our behaviors. And when you're living in a community setting like a residence hall and on a college campus, it's going to come down to a lot of personal responsibility and taking care of one another. And we're here to help educate along that process.
Awesome, thank you. And many of us were on this webinar earlier, much earlier, when everything was just getting started. And I can just say it's just been really impressive to see how all these plans come together, and the university has been working really, really hard. There's lots of different teams talking to one another, working through it, making sure we're all connected. And so I am just feeling really good and confident about everything that's coming into place for your fall arrival, which is really exciting. And once you get here, we hope you get really involved. And I'm going to ask Jeff to talk a little bit about what kind of clubs, organizations, activities students can participate in at St. Thomas.
Sure. So at our campus, we have about 130 clubs, all the way from recreational to academic, to even club sports. And so I highly recommend, if you're interested in getting involved, getting connected with students on our campus, get involved in one of our clubs or organizations. My one recommendation for every student is to at least join 2 clubs, just at least 2 clubs. One being a recreational club, something that will spark your creativity, something that you always wanted to try. And the second one is to join a academic club, something that will help you explore your career and professional experiences. So what's really nice about our academic and professional clubs is that they bring in speakers from all around the cities, professionals, CEOs, that talk about their experiences, even recruiters looking for people. So they talk about various things about what they're looking for resumes, what was their career experience, what was their journey like getting into the position that they're in now. So for sure, definitely getting into an academic club is something to do. And then obviously, kind of for those right brain folks who want to explore some creativity and do some fun things, we have like a rock climbing club, we have a scuba diving club, tabletop gaming, things like that. The list goes on and on. The other thing I'll also recommend, I'm going to recommend a lot of things, is to check out TommyLink. It's our online web resource to check out all the clubs and organizations on our campus. It's a really quick search. You can either go through Campus Life to find TommyLink, or just a quick Google search, Tommy with an IE link, and it'll be one of the first searches in Google. It's also a great resource to find out what's happening on our campus as well. It's a very comprehensive guide with what's happening today, tomorrow, weeks. You can even look on what has happened in the past. So obviously summer's here now. There's not a lot of events that are being posted on TommyLink, but you can always click past events and see what we have put on in the past. I always love this one feature within TommyLink. When you're looking through the event directory, you can actually search what are some, one of the perks is free food. So if you're ever running low on your meal plan, or you don't have a meal plan, you can always go through TommyLink, click the free food section, and then you would be able to see what events are around you that have free food close to you. So yeah, lots of ways to get involved. And then I'll also touch on one of my colleagues, Aaron Whipke, oversees our STAR programming board, which I mentioned earlier. They hold tons of events. Every single week, there is no reason to say you have nothing to do, because they are planning something almost every single day for you guys to, either it's bingo or it's trivia or there's entertainers. Every Thursday night in Scooters, they have some kind of performer having like a coffee house feel for students to just sit down, relax, meet other students, and have food. Food's always a good bringer, something to bring everyone together. But there's always something to do. And how you're going to find out about these events, obviously TommyLink will let you know, but our office also sends out a Wednesday email that will let you know on what's happening for our weekend events. And so that we consider our weekends from Thursday to Sunday, and there's always something. So I also mentioned there's, in the past, we've done off-campus excursions. They've done this fun thing called a mystery bus tour, where they would take you on a bus. You don't know where you're going. But one of the places that we've gone before is in Mall of America and Nickelodeon Universe. We shut it down for everyone else but our students, and students just got to ride rides for the whole night. So it's a really great experience. They've gone to other places as well. So like I said, there's always something to do on our campus. If it's not STAR, even our clubs are doing something every single day. So a lot of ways to get involved on our campus.
That is awesome, Jeff. Every time I hear you talk, I want to go back to college, number one. And right now I'm especially missing campus because it all sounds really, really fun. So thanks for sharing all of that. Father Blake, we have some questions about how your office works to promote the Catholic faith when masses are offered. Could you talk a little bit about some of those things, please?
I'd be glad to do that. Thank you. First of all, let me say that we're opening up a brand new center that will be the home for campus ministry here at the university, the Iverson Center for Faith. It's adjoining the chapel. It'll be up in the north quad of the campus, and it is absolutely beautiful. We're going to begin moving in there next week, but I I've kind of watched the progress coming along, and it's a stunning building. There's no getting around it. In fact, it was named in Minneapolis St. Paul magazine as one of the top 5 brand new buildings here in the Twin Cities. Now, to your question, we do a lot. I heard it said, and I think it's fair, that for those who wish to practice their faith and deepen their faith, there are opportunities all the time. And just to name some of those, during the school year, we have 3 daily masses, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, 12 noon, and then again at 5 o'clock. We have weekend masses, Saturday evening and Sunday morning in the St. Thomas Aquinas Chapel. For those who love the devotion of adoration of the Blessed Sacrament, we have a group of students who organizes that in Coach Commons. We have a small chapel there, and our students will come to pray night and day through the week before the Blessed Sacrament. We have retreats. We probably have as many as 10 retreats during the year, and they're not all exclusively Catholic. We have retreats for our other students as well, students of other faiths. Last year, we even had a Muslim women's retreat here, sponsored by our office. So there's a lot of activity, and I think most importantly, we're here to serve the students on our campus, to help them develop that aspect of their life, that faith aspect, help them develop some spiritual resiliency while they're here at St. Thomas.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Father Blake. We appreciate that. Erin, we had a question come in that relates to some of the things you were talking about, and it's, do you have any concerns that with the needed distancing, that there won't be sufficient dorm space?
Yeah, we're not concerned about our residence hall bed space this year. It's one for 2 reasons. One, we had planned on using Brady Residence Hall, which has been a long time hall for us, as a renovation for the academic year. We were going to give it a renovation, and with the COVID-19 situation, we decided to be a little more fiscally responsible with funds and what we want to do on campus. So we postponed that renovation, which means we have that residence hall to utilize for student housing for this fall. And so we're currently putting together lots of different scenarios, again, as we work with the Minnesota Department of Health and the CDC on what they're going to ultimately really recommend for us in terms of student living and what that means. So we have scenarios that have students living in shared space and sharing bathrooms, and we have apartment space and suite space and traditional residence hall space. And so we've got our full portfolio available to both our returning and our first year students. And so we're not concerned about bed space. So if you're a family who's listening to this and you're still kind of trying to figure out what you want your fall to look like, and if your student wants to live on campus, there are bed spaces still available for our first year class. So connect with admissions and put a deposit in, a confirming deposit in, and we'll get you into the housing preference form and start working with you on what living on campus could look like for the fall.
That's a really good reminder that a lot of our participants are in the admit process right now, so they haven't yet confirmed. And so I'll do just a quick plug for that. If you are ready to make your commitment to St. Thomas and want to live on campus, it's 2 different deposits. One is a $200 deposit that reserves your spot in the class, and that's called the confirming deposit. And then the second is a $200 housing or residence hall deposit that obviously kicks off the process of putting you into a residence hall and space to live on campus. So you can find both of those on your admitted student website or through your admission portal where you applied for admission and put both of those in. June 1 has been, if you obviously have been working through this process as a senior, a lot of schools always had May 1 as the date. We during all of this, and many other schools as well, moved that to give all of our students more time to work through everything. And so we have moved our deposit date to June 1, which all of a sudden that's next Monday. So we prefer that you try to put your deposits in if you know that you're coming to St. Thomas by that June 1 date. If you have other questions or need more assistance or are still working through the process, we also want to talk to you if you need more time than June 1. It just is helpful for you to get those deposits submitted so that we can work through the process. You can tell there's a lot of moving parts here. We need to get you your course preferences. We need to work with you on, the orientation pieces. So the longer you wait, the more we'll have to catch you up with those types of things. So that's just a little encouragement to work with us and try to make that decision by June 1, if you can. All right, Erin, I think this one is probably the best for you too. It's about having space to store a bike. So can you talk about, is there indoor or sheltered place if you're a student living on campus who wants to bring a bike?
Yeah, there is now, thanks to our new residence halls. So both our new residence halls, we are going for LEED certification. We're going to get likely gold certification, and what that also brings with it then is bike storage. So it's a certain ratio based on your beds of bike storage. So we have underground parking under both residence halls, and within that underground parking we have separate caged areas that's going to be for bike storage, and it's going to have both hoses for pumping tires and doing a little bike repair and cleaning your bike, and it's going to be a sheltered space and individual racks for locking. And so it's going to be a really nice space in those two halls. And so resident students will then be given card access to those spaces. We'll have a sign-up process as we get closer to school just to make sure we're collecting all the information we need to get you registered and ask you to register your bike on campus and give you a little instruction about how to care for it and what to bring and where to park it and everything else. But we used to have we still do, but it's a smaller space underneath Morrison Hall, but it wasn't quite large enough for all of our residents. So a lot of our residents had to park their bikes outside. But with the addition of these two new halls, we're adding hundreds and hundreds literally of indoor biking spaces for our resident students to take advantage of. So it's a great opportunity for our students to bring bikes to campus. We encourage it. We encourage you not to bring your most expensive bike, most expensive lock, modest bike, because we are in a metropolitan city area and bikes are bikes, but we think bikes are a great way to get around the city of St. Paul to and from different locations. It might be jobs, it might just be for social life and go to get a bite to eat, whatever it is. Our campus isn't tremendously large, so you don't have to necessarily bike to class, but if you want to bike to South Campus or to Mid Campus and lock it up, park it, and ride it back, you're certainly welcome to do that too. But we encourage bikes on campus.
Awesome, thank you. All right, Kyla, I'm gonna go to you next and ask you to talk a little bit about what it's been like in a virtual environment, because as we're talking about all the different possibilities for the fall, I think it might be helpful for them to hear firsthand how your spring went in comparison to what some of our high school students might have been experiencing.
Yeah. So it's definitely been a big change, but I think we can all find some common ground in that. Both faculty, staff, and students have all had to adapt, and we've all adapted together. So that means we've been working together to find out what does work and what might not work. For me, all my classes transitioned pretty seamlessly online to like a Zoom format, which I really appreciate because I still see my classmates face to face and we have still the same type of discussions just online. But with that being said, I know that even with like my situation and others around me, things can change very quickly right now. And so it's been really nice to have smaller class sizes where your professors know who you are. And so if you're able to connect with them one-on-one better, they can understand your situation. And so far, all my professors have been really accommodating and just flexible, and especially more flexible than ever, just with everything going on. So it's been really nice to work with faculty, and they're adapting too. And so they've been really helpful to get feedback from students. So it's been kind of really nice to work with them to custom build a class that was in person to online. So it's been pretty easy, but I definitely miss being on campus. But yeah, I do like seeing everyone's faces on Zoom still. Yeah.
it's the next best thing we've got right now, so we'll take it, right? It's kind of how I feel too. Yeah. All right, Madonna, can you tell us a little bit about how insurance works at the different services with the different services in the Center for Wellbeing? We've got some parents wondering if they would use their personal insurance for their student or if they have to take out insurance through the university.
Okay, good question. It works a couple of ways. One is in that the counseling or mental health services is covered through the student health fee, as is the facility itself, so that you don't need to use insurance for. The medical clinic, we do use private health insurance, and we do bill to those health insurance companies and receive payment from the health insurance companies. All of the outreach and health promotion, again, is covered through the health fee. So the only place that there's using insurance is in the medical clinic. And that includes for vaccinations, sutures, whatever we might be able to deliver on campus. As I mentioned, it's, staffed by a variety of professionals, including psychiatrists and internal medicine. We only offer insurance plan, a sponsored plan, to our international students. Otherwise, we kind of got out of the insurance business, so to speak, when the Affordable Care Act was instituted, in that either most of our students still come in on their family plan or go through the exchange. So that's kind of how it works here. But if you have more questions, just email me and I'll get back to you. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. Susan, if we have parents who want to connect with the disability services or resources on campus, when should they start to do that, first of all, and then what assistance is available?
A great question. I would say soon after you confirm your attendance at St. Thomas, and immediately you'll get access to the things we've been talking about, all these preference forms and other things. And then our disability resources staff, it would be helpful for them to know about you and to know that they'll be watching for you and do some outreach for an initial appointment. I think really looking at the specific accommodations that they'll want to talk through will be that interaction or that consultation will be most helpful after you have your fall classes. So I would say mid-July to mid-August would be a really nice time zone to shoot for that appointment. But you can do a lot of just kind of giving a heads up about that prior to getting the schedule, and we'll be ready for that.
Perfect, that sounds great, thanks. Kyla, I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about your experience choosing a major and maybe some of your friends' experiences too. I know that's often a point of anxiety for students if they don't know what they might want to do. So if you could, from the student experience, talk about that, that would be helpful.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I came in pretty undecided. I had an idea of what I didn't want to do, but other than that, I wasn't really sure. It was kind of scary. I can definitely relate because it feels like everyone else you're meeting has a major in mind. But I took a lot of general classes first, just to kind of test some different things out. I attended a lot of club meetings that talked about different majors, which was really helpful to also kind of help me narrow down what I was and wasn't interested in. And then ultimately, it just really came down to meeting with people, professors and academic counseling, just to talk through some options. And then I ended up deciding to take a communication and journalism course just to test it out. And I figured, if I didn't like it, I could always, there's a lot of flexibility. So if I didn't like it, it wasn't a huge deal and it would still count as a credit, but otherwise I could always minor in it. But I ended up really falling in love with it and then just going full steam ahead with it. And so really just meeting with people and asking a lot of questions early on was really helpful in deciding. And although it seems really scary at first when you don't know what you're doing and it seems like other people do, it ends up working out okay. So yeah.
Great. And I see Susan shaking her head a lot. And maybe Susan, if you could speak, I know your office works with undecided students all the time. and maybe talk a little bit about how advisors help with that process, or just share your experiences from your office perspective. That'd be wonderful.
I would love to. We, I think a lot of students come just in the kind of phase that you're in, that with just lots of ideas that are good, things that you've enjoyed in high school, and that's perfect. And that can be a good indicator of things you'd like to study at St. Thomas. Sometimes it's not the full picture, and so we have a lot of students coming in with some good ideas, and they kind of start down that path, but then they discover some other things, or they change their mind about something. So there's a lot of students who change their mind. So even though some students come in and say, I'm undecided and it feels like everybody else knows, we kind of know behind the scenes that, well, even if you kind of have some good ideas, you're going to change. A certain percentage of students are going to change their mind, right? And that's absolutely appropriate, and we're ready for that. We want students to do that exploring, and we also want students to make degree progress in an efficient way too. So that's a lot of our work in academic counseling, as we kind of talk students through that. We don't have any magical answers, and most of it, just like everything we do at St. Thomas, is done in community. So we will say, here's kind of the set of degree requirements for X, Y, and Z majors. Here's who you should talk to. We have academic counseling, our staff that we've been referencing in this panel, but students also have faculty advisors, and they all know each other. And so we are consulting back and forth, and it really takes a village in a lot of cases, and it takes some work on the part of the student, but it's a really invigorating process if you can really have an open mindset, a growth mindset about it, and an open heart. And we're all here to guide you through that. And so it's really, really exciting to see students find their match and go out and change the world for the common good. It's wonderful.
And I'll just add, there's some silver linings to doing orientation differently this year, in that academic counseling, admissions, and academic affairs have teamed up to present Majors Week, the week of June 8th. And so incoming students will have a chance to connect with faculty who teach in a number of different majors, ask questions, get some great content about any of the majors they might be interested, or all of them. That might be a lot, but you could do all of them if you wanted. Get the information, not major in everything. And so if you do confirm, and if you do confirm by June 1st, you'll get an invite to that. You'll get a list of all the different opportunities and sessions. Faculty who teach in those programs will be on those meetings, and you'll have a chance to interact with them, probably more and more directly than you might have if we were doing in-person sessions in some ways. And so really, we're trying to highlight that opportunity the week of June 8th, and give students a great chance to get good information before their course preference form and their other registration materials are due, so that they can really get some great information and give a great start to their fall semester.
Thanks for that reminder, Josh. That was perfect timing. Appreciate it. That is, something we're really excited about. And I think what's coming through a lot here is what really is the true feel of St. Thomas. People are working together. We're just a good size to be able to offer so many different majors, so many different programs, so many clubs and activities. But we also are just the great size that, the people on this screen work together a lot to help students navigate. Not only, they help me a lot through helping students through the admission process, but then once you're enrolled and a Tommy, you will really know who your people are on campus that'll help guide you through all walks of life as you stay with us your 4 years. So it's special, it really is. So I wanted to say that. Linda, I'm going to turn over to you with, since we have parents on this webinar, can you talk a little bit about what parents might be able to do or should do this summer as they prepare to send their student off to college?
Sure, I can talk about that from a professional lens, I think, and a personal lens also. I sent my oldest, my daughter, off to her first year of college this past year. So if it's your first going off to college, I can relate with you on that. I would encourage a few thoughts. I would encourage you to think about having conversations with your students before they get to college around some topics that sometimes might not feel as comfortable. I mean, parents are all different. So I would say think about topics like alcohol, and before they come to college, what choices do they anticipate making if they get caught in a situation they're not comfortable in. We will give you a parent handbook online. We're really excited about this. It's a new handbook for us, and the handbook covers topics including how do parents talk to students about mental health, about alcohol use, and about relationships. 3 really big things as students come to college. So I would encourage you, again, we'll have that online in mid-July, so I would really encourage you to also use that as a resource for some conversation starters. I would encourage you to spend quality time with your student before they leave. Not that you won't have great quality time coming, but it changes. It definitely changes. So I know everyone's been spending a lot of time together. A lot of time together doesn't always mean quality time. So I'll let you think about, define for yourself what that might look like, or what that might look like with your family. And I would say the more we can do to build a resiliency in our kids as they go off to college, and let them know that they're gonna make mistakes. It's not all gonna go. I've been working in higher ed for 29 years. I have yet to meet a college student who everything just went perfectly smoothly. There'll be bumps. I can't tell you exactly what the bumps will be for your child, but there will be bumps. And so knowing how to reach out and use resources and to be okay with having bumps, and for you to normalize that for them, I think can also be really helpful. Sometimes students put a lot of pressure on themselves before they get to college and in that first semester, and think they have to have it all figured out, and they don't. And that's what we're all about on the screen, is also helping them to figure it out. We do have a parent liaison in the Dean of Students office. Her name is Leah Fulton. She's one of our assistant deans. So I would want you to know also that you have a really available resource to you in the fall or over the summer if you want to reach out and have questions. Leah is amazing, and she'll be happy to talk with you also. So those are a few thoughts I would offer. And be prepared for drop off. If your child's living on campus, again, I've been working in higher ed for a long time, but oh my goodness, that drop off day, nothing quite prepared me for it. So she went a little farther away, so that might have had a little something to do with it too, but keep it short, don't drag it out.
Well, and I have a daughter who's now a senior as of last week. She finished up her classes in high school. So I'm listening at it too, probably just, a few months behind everybody else that's on this call, but that's fantastic advice. Thank you very much for sharing. And I love that question. Father Blake, I want to give you a chance to talk a little bit more to make sure that you feel comfortable, that you've shared like when mass times are and how we incorporate faith into students' lives who are interested. So you want to share a little bit about faith on campus for our Catholic students, and then how your office helps other students who are not of the Catholic faith.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very, I was hoping I'd have a chance to say more about that, Kristen. Our office, our mission really is to develop the faith life of all of our students. And of course, our students come from many different backgrounds, and some come on campus and they really would say, well, I don't really have anything right now that I'm committed to in a faith way. But there are many, many opportunities. Through our office, we sponsor, as I mentioned earlier, retreats that are open to anyone who would like to participate. One need not be Catholic to do that. We have in our office a Presbyterian pastor who works as a an associate chaplain. And so his work is really with students who are Christian but non-Catholic. We have a Jewish rabbi who works on our campus, and she's been wonderful. What I can say about Rabbi Ariel is that she has a wonderful way of reaching out across all faith traditions, and people come to her and they simply want to talk to her because she's a nice person to visit with. And so we do have staff within our office who can help navigate a lot of those questions that come up during these young adult years. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we have many opportunities for young people who are Catholic and want to grow more deeply in their Catholic faith to do that. I'll just mention one other thing, and it kind of ties in with Jeff's campus life programs, his clubs. We have numerous clubs on campus that are religious-based clubs also. And so when a student might think about joining a club, that could be one of their choices, to join a club that has is a religious theme club as well.
Awesome, thank you so much. We're getting to the end of time here. I think this might be our last question, and seeing as how it's dinner time, and Jeff already talked a bunch about food, I thought we'd end with a question. This one I'm gonna direct to Erin. Can you tell us a little bit about dining options on campus? And then if the parents have a student with a food allergy, what the university will do to help students with food allergies.
Yeah, everyone's favorite topic, food, right? So all first-time, first-year students coming in are assigned to what we call the unlimited meal plan. And what that is really it's an anytime kind of meal plan that allows you to move in and out of one of our dining venues. So in our Anderson Student Center, we have what's called The View. And as I mentioned before, in Tommy North, which is one of our new residence halls, we have the North Sider. And these are meal plan types of spaces where you would swipe in, and you can be in and out of there as many times a day as you want to grab a light snack, to grab a salad, to grab some yogurt, to have a full meal, whatever is the best situation for you. We also have what we call retail dining on campus. So as part of your meal plan, you also have dollars, dining dollars, we call them. And you can put additional dining dollars and flex dollars on your card, because your card will do lots of wonderful things for you while you're on campus, your student ID card. And you can go to places like Scooters or Tees, which is a grill place, and get different kinds of food. So the variety of meal options and choices that you have as a student is unbelievable. It's wonderful. For students who are looking for a more customized menu based on whether that be allergies or just other kinds of accommodations, we have a dietitian on campus. They work in our dining services, and they ask to meet with students one-on-one and put together a menu and a meal plan option and some different choices, and to also just kind of walk through the different locations and how to best utilize those locations if you have dietary needs or restrictions. The North Sider, which is in Tommy North, actually has what we call a G8 station. So it's the 8 major allergens, and it's a whole separate location so that we can control contamination, and it's a separate space in there that you'll actually card swipe into, and only the students who are part of that G8 plan, if you will, can have access to that space. So it is far more common than not. You know, when we were doing this work 20 years ago, you didn't talk as much about dietary needs and restrictions and allergens, but now it is just common practice. So you can walk up to a station, and the people who are staffed behind that station are very aware of what you'd be asking for or talking about, or leave this off, or can I have this instead? And so it's a staff that's very aware of the dining needs of our students, in addition to a professional dietitian. So you should feel very comfortable with those conversations and our staff on campus.
All right, thank you very much. That was a great place to end as we send people off to dinner time. I do have a couple of closing notes that I'll end with. First, I wanted to let you know that this was recorded, so we will be putting it out on our website. And if you want to come back and try to refresh your memory on anything that was said tonight, or have your students sit and watch it with you, or someone else from your family, please know that you can go out there and we will post it in a couple of days and you'll be able to watch it at any time. And then there are other webinars that we've done throughout the past couple of months, and those are available out on that page as well. So I wanted to direct your attention, that's available for you. The other piece I want to say is we do have a frequently asked questions section. There's one obviously for the university that's answering a lot of questions about COVID, and then the admissions office has one out as well in terms of like next steps and a lot of the things that we covered tonight. And we are updating that regularly as decisions are made and more details are being worked out. So that's another great place for you to continue to turn to. But never ever forget that we at the university are very happy to answer any questions that you have. We love talking with people. So please reach out. The admissions office and your admissions counselor is always a great place to start. And we will make sure that we get you in touch with other people. And right on cue, look at that. We've got all the information about, here are the email addresses of the various folks who were on tonight's webinar, and also a place where you'd often go with a lot of your different questions. So please feel free to reach out to any of these individual email addresses and the people behind them so that we can help with any next steps. One last reminder, if you're still a student who's considering St. Thomas and hasn't yet submitted deposits, please connect with us if there's anything we can do to help you through that process. June 1 again is Monday, and it would be ideal to have your deposits in by that date so that we can keep everything moving forward for you. There are a lot of next steps, and they're all perfectly choreographed, and a lot of pieces that, as you learned on this webinar, connect to each other. So we want to make sure that we're getting you all of that information to keep you right on track to have everything set for the fall. And your best bet is to make sure that you submit those deposits by June 1st, so we can help you with that part of the process. I want to give a huge thank you to all the panelists tonight. It certainly is easier to do this when it's snowing outside and cold, but boy, when it's beautiful weather like it's been, we appreciate not only the participants who've sat with us through this, but also the panelists who've shared their expertise with us. It's always a pleasure being on Zoom with all of you, so thank you so very much. And with that, we will close. Thank you so much again for joining us, and we wish you all a great evening. Thank you.